So, Texans at Seahawks, Week 8. First, I'm gonna start off with, a few little key notes. The first one, the Seahawks have absolutely the best home field advantage in the NFL. Probably besides the Denver Broncos, but that's mostly because of the elevation. So, the next thing, the Texans are coming off a bye week. Bill O'Brien is 3-0 coming off a bye week. So his team's always extra prepared and ready to go after a bye week. The Texans defense always improves after the bye week with Romeo Crennel. I don't know if the same could be said about Mike Vrabel. That's still yet to be seen. And one last thing. Before JJ and Whitney Merciless went down, I so had the Texans winning this game, but let's see how things go with them both being out. Let's start off with the Seahawks offensive line versus the Texans defensive line. No JJ, no Merciless, no problem. The Seahawks have one of the worst offensive lines, if not the worst offensive line in the NFL. DJ Reader, Lamar Houston, Jadeveon Clowney should dominate these guys. I feel like our defensive line could completely shut down the run against these guys. Passing wise, though, I do feel like their offensive line is bad enough to the point where we can actually put some pressure on Russell Wilson. But here's the thing. The Texans' defensive front, for some reason, just cannot keep the quarterbacks contained. And this applies to Marcus Mariota, Alex Smith, and even the terrible Hogan that we played against the Browns before the bye week. They just couldn't keep him in the pocket. He would escape, or they would all escape the pocket and run. And Russell Wilson is probably the most dangerous one that we faced up to this point that can do that kind of stuff. So defense has to really step up the front seven in containing Russell Wilson, because the guy's dangerous. He's hard to bring down, and he can make huge plays happen if you don't bring him down. He will make you pay for it. Their receivers versus our secondary. As you guys know, our secondary is really not all that good. Safeties are pretty bad. Our third corner is pretty bad. But Kevin Johnson is back now, or he should be back now. He was practicing last week, and I do expect him to play this game. With him playing, I feel like our corners can do a good enough job of maybe not shutting them down, but certainly limiting the Seahawks receivers. The Texans usually struggle with all types of receivers, if I'm being honest. It doesn't matter if you're big, it doesn't matter if you're slow, if you're a speedy receiver. The Texans are going to struggle with you. So the receivers are, I don't know really how to feel about this matchup. I want to trust our secondary, but then you look at the freaking Chiefs game, you look at the Patriots game, and you kind of start to lose confidence in your secondary. So I don't know. It's going to be a pretty interesting matchup to watch. I think it all lies upon the front seven. If the front seven can't get pressure, then our secondary might be in for a long day. So now we switch over to the defensive side. Their defensive line versus our offensive line. Our offensive line, as you guys know, isn't really good, But Bill O'Brien has done a good job of chipping the edge rushers, of sending in some kind of like end arounds, play actions to slow down the rushers, and it's worked. It really has, because the Texans' offensive line hasn't really allowed many sacks, pressures. So I look for the same thing to happen, but there's the Seahawks defense. They're a completely different animal, but they do kind of struggle stopping the run. So I do feel like we can get a run game going against these guys with Foreman and Lamar Miller. Passing wise, man, Sherman, Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, they absolutely terrify me against Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson has done good, but Deshaun Watson is indeed a rookie. And these guys aren't your ordinary shitty Titans DBs. Shit, they're way better than the Chiefs DBs, so they're on a whole other level. So I don't think Deshaun Watson's going to be able to fool these safeties by, looking one way and then coming back and throwing in the other way. So it's kind of scary just thinking of that matchup. Another thing, something that the Browns were doing to Deshaun Watson was bringing pressure from the corners by blitzing the corners, and I feel like the Seahawks might try to do that as well. But as I said, O'Brien always has his guys ready after the bye week. So I have a feeling that if the Seahawks do that, he'll be well adjusted to it and be able to do something about that. Now, the result of the game, I'm feeling somewhere around 20-17 Seahawks. Do I feel like the Texans stand a chance in this game? Absolutely. I feel like they do stand a chance, especially considering the whole O'Brien's 3-0 after the bye week. So I do think the Texans can win this game, but every streak at some point has to come to an end, and I feel like this one's going to come to an end here. I don't think Deshaun Watson's going to be able to have his crazy typical games he's been having these past 5 weeks. So kind of doesn't end here, but it is going to be one of those bumps in the road. And I don't think our defense is going to be able to contain Russell Wilson. They haven't been able to contain Alex Smith, Marcus Mariota, even Kevin Hogan, which is terrible. They're not going to be able to contain Russell Wilson. I highly doubt this team can get off the field on third down. They haven't been able to do so in the past, so yeah. The Seahawks are going to win 20-17. I feel like the offense is going to have a couple turnovers, and the Seahawks are going to have a clean game, and that's how they're going to win. So, with that being said, guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.